Welcome back to Timeless Textiles. Cathy, this is Cathy Jack Coupland, and this is your third exhibition here at Timeless Textiles. This is a beautiful exhibition about coral that I know I've spent years making this work.
I have, yeah.
I know you have. You're very disciplined about your work, which I'd like to talk about in a little while. This is called Escape. Let's start with talking about why you've called this exhibition Escape, Cathy.
Escape, because what I do is my escape. It's my break from the trials and tribulations of everyday life. It's my passion. Embroidery is my passion. It's what I love to do. I love to make simple, intricate, and I'm very grateful that I have the time and energy and the sight to still do these things, yeah.
The pieces behind you are what I know of you from the 10 or 12 years I've known you, which is heavily embroidered, machine embroidered artwork. I'd love you just to talk about that because you're still doing it all these years.
Oh, I am. I love it. It's a passion, and I love the rhythms. Having a needle in my hand or a needle in a machine doesn't make a difference. It's that rhythm, the sound of the pop as the needle goes through the fabric, or as indeed, when your machine is correctly balanced, when the stitch is even, it's just pure bliss.
So it's almost like you're in the flow, you and your machine and your needle.
Yeah, it's meditative. That's where the mindfulness comes in. That's where you're grounded. That's where, I'm sure my blood pressure goes down. I'm in that moment. I'm not worrying about anything else. I always have a plan, so I know what I'm doing. It's just one of the most free moments to be able to sit and stitch. I say moments, hours.
I know that of you. You're very disciplined, that you have a strong work ethic about approaching your work, both in terms of setting up your day and in terms of being able to produce the work behind you. Do you want to talk a bit about all those steps? Not necessarily that you have breakfast and get this, but about making your artwork.
That does come into it because I live to stitch, so my day is organised. I get my chores done. I know what I'm going to serve for dinner, whatever. Get that organised, and then the rest of the day I can dedicate to what I love to do. And in terms of this sort of work, I won't say always. I pretty much have a plan for most of the work. Having said that, most of these pieces here, I didn't have a plan. It's a matter of following an instinct. Watercolour, I don't often do watercolour, but I love watercolours. So stitching onto watercolour paper with beads and embroidery techniques really appeals to me. Or the piece behind you, the melon patch, that just evolved because I love the colour of the felt. And once I start, I think it's the passion, that's that need to see that work evolve. I want to see what I can do, how far can I take it. I surprised myself with some of these works. I've never done that before. I've never stitched onto stretched canvas before. It's about always pushing. I'm always pushing. I'm always jumping off a cliff. That's what I'm doing.
I think you also have a great lesson for people about planning an artwork. For instance, for the ones behind you, I know of you that you think about it, you research it, you practice it, then you do it, and that's such an important practice rather than jumping in and making a mistake and then not being completely satisfied with it. I think that's important.
I agree. And when I started the piece Coral, above the fireplace, that's when I began to research coral. I really didn't know anything about coral bleaching. That opened up such a fascinating world. But I sampled. It took 4 iterations for me to get to that point, that one piece of work, which really has led on to all of this. But to do that, I had to make a lot of mistakes. And sometimes the mistakes actually turned into good ideas, and sometimes the good ideas I had turned into mistakes. So you can't always judge which way it's going to go. I just go with the flow.
So Cathy, these coral pieces are extraordinary. There's so much work, so much detail, so many beads. I've no idea how your eyes even cope with doing this work. This was the one that has triggered a lot of the artwork in this exhibition. Do you want to talk to this most amazing piece of rock pool coral?
Well, this is the one that really took about 18 months for me to get to this place. I was asked to be part of an exhibition organised by Carol Cook and Sharon Peoples called Exuberance, and they wanted colour. Colour I can do, but it was the hand embroidery. They wanted hand embroidery. I hadn't done hand embroidery in decades, so I sampled again. As I said, it took 4 iterations before I could actually get to the point where I thought, you know, this is really starting to talk to me. This is starting to show the person I am, because I love to make simple things look intricate. And every technique there is simple. It's just, there's lots in it.
That made Meredith Woolnoth and I laugh the other day when we stood in front of that piece and looked at it, and the word simple was not what came across our mind.
Well, the techniques individually are simple, and I think once you start, when you know you're on a road that is the right road, that drives you to want to finish. I couldn't wait to finish that piece, and I couldn't wait to start another one. It's the same. That's how things have evolved here.
Yes, I noticed you made that beautiful little one here.
I do love that one.
Yes.
And that's slightly different from this one, because I've added, I don't know if there's that much, there is a little embroidery here, but there's hand embroidery techniques there that I've put a couple of stitch techniques together, and they look like little sort of wormy things at the bottom of the sea. I don't know, but I think the colour's a bit more defined in this one.
I was very pleased to see that you had put some bleached coral, because a lot of people who have come through here, who have been up on our wonderful barrier reef like a decade ago and went back again not very long ago, have talked about how brown and how white it is. So you did do 2 pieces of bleached. I
love working with colour, but I love working in a monochromatic colour scheme. And you look at these, they look white, but there's yellow white, there's blue white, there's different textures, there's different shiny, matte, they reflect light differently, so you get a variation there. But I just think white is the one, or black, although black probably would be more difficult to work with, but I love white.
I love that you've put pink behind this baby one.
Yeah, actually I don't know whether it's the pink felt, because I painted the felt, or it's the lovely sequins I've used that are reflecting that, because they've got a slight lavender reflection to them. And I really do enjoy doing the small pieces on a stretched canvas and making them just look like little artworks.
What I really respect is how you then present those samples, and having mounted them so that they are little artworks, because when we all sample, they can just end up in a drawer, but for you to actually take them and have respect for them and then present them as an artwork is a very good practice that I think we all could consider.
Well, that's lovely, but I have to say there are 2 pieces within the exhibition here that evolved as a result of UFOs. I don't usually not finish work, But the coral arch and the red carpet coral were two pieces that came to light when I was tidying my workroom. And as I said, I really don't finish something, but these two I'd started, put away, and I found them again. And I don't know, suddenly I had a new vision for both of them. The coral arch was actually machine embroidery. I put wire on the edges. I knew that I wanted to explore dimension and movement. And with the coral arch, it was just a beading sample that I'd started that I wanted to, that was a period where I wanted to explore using wire. I have used wire a fair bit in this exhibition. I think that these pieces here, these three, are all worked over pipe cleaners. But the red carpet coral and coral arch use a fairly thick wire that I can machine over. But the red carpet coral I beaded over. I did trial new techniques for this style of work, one of which was stump work, an Elizabethan technique or raised embroidery, and for the piece, the blue coral piece, fan coral, that's where I used the wire. I embroidered the inside fabric and was able to manipulate the wire into lovely shapes. But the other thing I used a lot, particularly in coral, was making slips, which is also a medieval technique where you stitch the work separately and then apply it later. And when you're working with that much dimension, that's really all you can do. You cannot work any other way. So basically I'm filling a shape. And I love that piece because I love working in circles. I have a lot of respect for a circle.
I know that of you, yes.
But it also represents the world and the fact that coral bleaching is a worldwide event. I mean, coral itself it's such a beautiful world, and I despair for all the corals that try to survive. They're just trying to survive.
And what's the future hold for you? Where are you moving next with your work, Cathy?
Well, isn't that interesting? I'm already beginning a new series of work, standing work that obviously would be machine embroidered, but again using wire. And my machine work is very structural anyway by the time it's finished, and it would probably stand on its own, but if I put wire I can manipulate the shape that I want rather than having to go with what I get. So yes, that's the route I'm going down at the moment, and I'm currently working on mangroves. I love mangroves. So it all sort of ties in together because mangroves are threatened as well.
I look forward to seeing those. I think 3D tall pieces of your work would be very stunning. Well, I'm so delighted to have your beautiful work here in the gallery. Thank you very much for showing Timeless Textiles. And your work's been so wonderfully received. So congratulations.
Thank you, Annie.